You're live. That's cool. It puts my chat there. But then this window. All right, what's up, guys? I think we're good. Where do I go to see my YouTube? Manage. Oh, that's this one. Okay. Good.
Yeah, if he had wrapped him up. Yeah, I think that was the one where they thought he hit his head.
Connect you. I hear you guys.
Yeah, the one that really
And TikTok. We'll go live on TikTok.
and then they throw the flag. It's like what's the guy? What are the guys supposed to do? He's like, dude, Mahomes has done that before, where he's like faked.
What's up? So we have a window tint class going today. We're about to go over door windows, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, he is a great quarterback. He is, but it upsets me.
Let me see if I can make this go. Ooh, I don't like that. How do we change this?
I was hoping he was going to follow the Lions, but I was also hoping the Lions would grab Fields.
What makes your in-person training from others? It's been a while. What do you mean? Yo! Hey, look at that. TikTok works too. Have you tinted it in the cold successfully? Not outside, no. We need to do a different layout here. I don't like this one. We gotta shrink some stuff down. Okay. So I'm using a different software, so I'm really quick trying to figure out how to lay out the windows here. 2 seconds while I do that. What do you use for text-to-speech? What's it called? Lumia. Lumia Stream. It does both. That's a nice thing. It'll do TikTok and it'll do YouTube. Should be good. All right, I'll leave it this way. I'm gonna go to the other window. And then that should be this one. There. Now you guys will just be, we'll just do this. Now you guys are full screen, and if there's a problem. Is there a problem with the cam? Does this look smushed on TikTok? Why is it smushed? Settings.
That's Todd Bowles tends to be a really good defensive guy.
1 second. Let me unplug this. Let me plug this back in.
I had Camara on he was pretty good. Started it out. So what?
He saw it.
Let me know.
Started out better than he finished.
Why?
No, I don't.
It looks smaller. I feel like it's smushed on TikTok, and I have no idea why right now. Oh well. All right, we're gonna get started. So, we're gonna do a door window demo. So we're going to, let's see, let's start on the other side, and we're gonna start on the back door. Oh, on YouTube it's vertical, yeah. How big are the classes? It depends. We got a small class this time. We got 2 people that came. So these we set up earlier this year, just because I'm always tinting in this bay. We took some air hose reels and swapped out the hoses on them. And then we put some different fittings up there that I can show you guys. But this is a fun, just like, you know, quickly reel it back up type setup.
That's nice.
But it works really well. But it's essentially the same thing as if you were just run the hose directly from the keg over here. It's just,
Oh, you have it hooked up to the keg as well?
yeah, the keg that I just showed you guys,
That's the one you
that's what we're using right now, yeah. Okay, so for cutting, let's go over that first. We're gonna go over hand cutting on the car. So first thing is we're gonna turn on the car, make sure all the accessories are off, and then wipe off the outside of the window. And then it is good to just roll it down and at least wipe off that top edge ahead of time. There's a lot of dirt that can build up here, so when you go to cut that edge, it'll be like really gritty. So you just roll it down and wipe that off. But yeah, wipe off the window. So we're gonna spray it, and then we're gonna grab a roll of film. So the short rolls that we have right now, and we'll use a couple different things. We have 50% Pro Nano, so this film's gonna be a little bit thicker. This is GeoShield's, one of their ceramic lines. So you have your flat edges on the tint, and you have two sides to it. So you have your tinted side, which for GeoShield rolls are gonna be on the inside here, and then the liner is gonna be on the outside. So the liner is the clear protector for the film. So it'll, you know, when you're working on the car or squeegeeing the tint and just cutting it out, it's gonna help protect it. But also it's just the backing for the tint. So right now we have liner, then glue, then the window tint facing the car. So everything's gonna be done in kind of like a mirrored fashion. So as soon as you peel that sticker, then it goes on the inside and sticks to the window. So what we're gonna do is line this up close to the bottom, and we're gonna trim off a piece. Why did my headphone disconnect? That's not fun. So you've got two edges. Again, let me see here.
Audio is good on my end, Matt.
There we go. Yeah, I got all the chat.
Yeah.
Every one of those comments I hear.
That's a different type of voices in your head.
Yeah, but it's the only way that I can actually like work and talk to people without having to constantly like try and read the screen. Oh yeah, and we also have the what is it? The snitty cutter. So this thing is actually really good for just like trimming the excess film off. I've been using a knife for so long, I didn't know about these till later, so I often will use a knife to do that, but I recommend using this instead, just to take that level of risk away. But the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna take the flat factory edge of the tint and we're gonna line it up on the bottom. It doesn't have to be touching perfectly, it's just used kind of as a shelf. So if you have if it starts sliding down the window, this will hold it in place. And it acts as a little guide, because as we shift the film back and forth, it'll keep this part level. So we know exactly how far over that we're cutting. So we're gonna start with cutting one side of the film. It doesn't matter which side that we pick, but we're gonna take our knife, we're gonna put out just one little click on there, and then you're gonna butt the film up. You kind of like lift it and press it up against the side, and you're You don't want to crunch it into the corner, so I'll press it down about like an inch from the top here. Then you take your knife, you poke that in, and then you just leave your knife angled away from the seal, and you trim that off. And then you just tear away. So now that we made that cut, we need to shift it over. So we slide this over this way. And we're gonna do about a 1/4 of an inch overlap. So we start with that, and then when we trim that side, we have to shift it back over. So the only thing that we wanna do is eliminate any gaps. So we need a little overlap on this side, a little overlap on that side. So we're gonna make the same cut over here. So down about an inch from the top. Press that in, take your knife, and then trim that down. Tear away. And then we're gonna slide this over. We're gonna slide it back in that direction. So we have that little bit of overlap on this side, little bit on that side, and then it's still lined up here in the bottom. So once you get it kind of leveled on the side with a little bit of overlap, you're gonna lift this bottom, you're gonna slide it down. You don't need to slide it down very far. You're gonna look at the inside of the window here. And wherever this like inside seal lines up with the outside seal here, so you've got this outside seal, you got this inside seal area, and if those are basically level, any bit that you're pulling downwards is going to be getting tucked into there. So if you're tucking your film, if you're pulling it all the way down to here, it's a lot of film to try and tuck into there. You really just need to get inside that inner seal, and you'll be fine, like in the vast majority of cases. So just keep that lined up there, and that's when you take your squeegee, and then you're just gonna tack that in place, so then it's not gonna slide anymore on you. So then we're gonna take our film, hold it on the bottom, and we're gonna roll it down just a couple inches, and expose this top section here. So that's where I'm gonna grab my other knife. This probably needs a different blade, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we're gonna take our knife. So for the first cuts, we use just that first little section. For the top edge, I'll do about like 3 or 4 clicks, just put a little bit more blade. You can get your blade to kind of hook in here, and just like, it gives you a little extra blade, so your knife doesn't just like slip off the top edge. But you wanna use the plastic of this knife to help hold the tint up against the window. So you'll hear it like knock against that window. So when we go to make this cut, the angle of it doesn't matter quite as much if it's tilted down or if it's, you know, tilted just like, if it's just level. But whatever angle that you hold it at, you just want to make sure that it's really level throughout the entire cut. So like if it's tilted down, keep that same level throughout your cut, so it's just consistent is what you're going for. So I'm going to poke this in, and then I'm going to just like that. That's how you get that cut. I should put my phone on a neck mount. Let me do that. Last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna round the corners. I'm just gonna grab something quick. Okay.
Looks like a stethoscope.
Tint. Dr. Tinto. All right, we're gonna flip you guys around here. So back camera, ultra wide. Yes. Okay, should be good. Okay, so you guys can, on here, will be able to see what's going on a little bit better. So last thing is gonna be rounding corners. So I'm already gonna take my knife because I made some cuts, and I'm just gonna snap off the end right here. When you're rounding corners, you're gonna extend your knife out the farthest, so that way you can keep a nice low angle to the window. So instead of like just a little bit, and then your blade will be forced to like stay up like this, you wanna extend your knife farther, so then you can keep a nice low angle to the window. When we made these cuts though, here on the side, you're trying to hold the tint into the seal. So that's why we just put the very tip out, and then the film is not gonna ride up the blade and create a really squiggly cut. So for the first cut, it's just that first little bit right there in the edges. For the top edge cut, it's gonna be about 3 or 4 clicks on this. And then for the final cuts, that's where our knife is extended out the farthest. So when you round corners, it should be really easy. You're gonna go along with where the cut is going already, so like just follow it straight. And then you're just gonna start swinging this part of the knife up, and you're just gonna round it. And then it should just basically just fall off. So right here, we're gonna go with that. We're gonna start cutting into the film a little, and we're just swinging that knife, and it just rounds it. The bottom ones, you can round them a lot. It's not gonna matter because they're getting tucked into the bottom corners. These top ones are where you're gonna be a little bit more particular. You're just gonna follow these lines straight up and try and follow that straight over, and then round that little difference there. So you can take any tool with a straight line. You can take a ruler. We're gonna use a Sharpie. We're also gonna do some stuff on the glass boards as well. So I'm gonna line up just a squeegee here, and this is my side seal. So if we were to keep this cut going, it would just go all the way straight up, right? Oops, I'm cutting into my squeegee a little bit. So I'm just going straight there, keeping that cut going, and now I only have a little bit here on the top edge. So I'm just gonna keep this going straight, right like that. There we go. And then I'm gonna snap off my blade again. And then we're gonna round off that little corner there. And this is sticking. There we go. So we're not gonna put a huge round on it, just a little bit, because this is getting tucked into the seal right there. So we wanna try and keep this going as consistent as we can. And then we're just taking the little sharp point off of it. Yeah, any little point that could start basically getting, like, as the window rolls up and down, it's still scraping against these seals a little bit, right? So every time it does that, there's the potential for it to just like start to come loose. So you want to take away any chance of it doing that. And then we're gonna continue this line. It's all intersecting lines, and then rounding corners is all you're doing. So like we always got to remember like what is the goal of anything that we're trying to do. So when we're making cuts on the side, all we're trying to do is get a straight line anywhere on here. And then from there, like even if my straight line, like my side cut was only from here to here and the rest of the seal goes straight, I could take a ruler or something and just extend that away from the seal. So I'm just trying to get, you know, the shape of my window is all I'm trying to do. We're gonna take this and we're gonna just round that very end. And so now we've got a window tint pattern. Once we have a few patterns all cut out, ready to go, then we're gonna get into heat shrinking. But that's something that rather than trying to cut out a pattern and then you know, just heat shrink them one at a time, it's good to just get a collection so then we can learn a lot of heat shrinking all at once. All right, so after you're done cutting a pattern, if it's a decent pattern, just put it up there and then we'll stack those up. But we're gonna show the Sharpie method too. So, okay, let me make sure I got everything for that. Cool. So Sharpie method is a little simpler, but you need a cut surface to do it on, because I wouldn't recommend just doing it right on the car, like the long cuts that you have to make. So let's clean this off again real quick. But let's take a piece of film. I'm gonna put this on the glass. Here, here's my snitty cutter. Trim this off. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, so what we did first for the other method was we lined this right up at the bottom. With the Sharpie method, you actually make, like, you only cut the top edge on the car and the rest of it is all done with Sharpie lines. So you'll be able to save yourself a lot of time. Let's get rid of this excess. There's a lot less steps with the Sharpie method. So what I'm gonna do is just line it up here at the bottom, and then I'm going to jump ahead a couple steps. I'm just gonna pull it down to where I would tuck the film. Spray the window, and then squeegee it in place. And then we're gonna go to the Sharpie, and we're gonna draw the side edges. So this would be in place of my knife. So instead of cutting these, I'm gonna mark where these are. So I'm still gonna put my finger there and wedge it in, and I'm basically just drawing where that very side is and where this side is over here. And we're gonna put that away. And then we're gonna just roll this down. And then go for the knife. So top edge knife, again, same thing, 3 or 4 clicks. And then we're gonna poke this in. And then trim that off. And we're gonna tear this away. So now we're gonna take this, and I basically have like all the information that I need to cut the rest of this pattern. I'm just gonna go do it at a board. The only reason why I'm gonna trim these side parts off on the board is doing this directly in an exposed spot on the car leaves yourself open to like potentially put a big scratch line right in the middle of somebody's window. So I would caution to, like, instead of doing that on the car, if you're doing this method, you really should have a different cut surface that you use just to make those types of cuts. You could use a pair of scissors. Like, there's some creative things that you could do. If you don't have a glass board, it just makes it easy. If you're in a spot that you can have a glass board, this method is really efficient that way. Okay, so I'm gonna set that there. Let's walk over to the glass board. Okay, so I have a ruler here. I don't have to use it, but so if I know this is where that side edge was, and I just need to make my cuts a little bit wider than that, I'm just gonna cut right outside that line. So I'm gonna line this up just a little past that. We're gonna make that cut. And so that's gonna tuck right into the seal. And then this is that top edge of the window. And we're just gonna follow that and then around our edge. So we want to try and make sure that that follows it as close as possible. Right, like that. And then let's round this bottom corner. Almost forgot that. Let's go to this other side. And so same thing here. When you get used to cutting, you can just freehand it. You're just going outside that line. And then you're gonna round that corner. That's not a very efficient way. Shut up. Shut up, chat. It actually is very efficient. You can do things directly on the car, or you can do things off of the car. Doing things with a Sharpie is still really efficient, especially because you're like simplifying it. You're taking steps out. So instead of having to make a cut, shift it over, make another cut, shift it back over, then shift it down, tack it in place and cut your top edge, all I'm literally doing is now taking my film, lining that flat edge on the bottom, tacking it in place, drawing my lines, trimming the top, and then I can take it over here and finish it off. It just simplifies it a lot more. I did the exact same thing, just in a completely different way. So this pattern is ready to go. We can go put it on the top, but this is ready to be heat shrunk and then it can be installed. So no, it's not efficient if you're working outdoors. Well, tinting this way outside, like I said, you really need some type of cut surface, or you should. Otherwise, you're going to be making those long cuts directly on the car. And that, you could use a pair of scissors instead. Honestly, there's other ways to cut it out instead. But it's recommended to have some type of a cut board, especially if you have one on each side of the car, which I should have, because then you're right there. You do your Sharpie method, or we can do another method called double cutting. And double cutting is basically cutting out two patterns at the same time. So that's a way you can just bump up your efficiency. So you take one pattern, you put it on the car, you take another pattern, you flip it, smash the two together, and then when you make your cuts, it just makes everything go way faster because now you have two patterns for the same time as one.
Yeah.
So you're just cutting out mirrored patterns.
So what's your preferred method?
I'm so used to hand cutting directly on the car, and I think that's if you have your own work environment, Sharpies are great. There's a lot of people that love using them and just marking the patterns. For the longest time, I worked in a shop, I knew nothing about Sharpies, but then I would, when I was mobile, I would travel around from shop to shop. So they barely had a halfway decent space for me to tint in their shop, let alone like have a nice workspace like this. So for the most part, I was just hand cutting directly on cars. I wasn't about to bring a plotter with me or anything like that. So I was pretty much just doing it right on the car. But had I known Sharpies and maybe like scissors or something, I probably would have given that more of a chance. I just got so much more familiar with a blade early on. And before you know it, it's like time goes by, and I was tinting the first way that I showed you for at least, I don't know, 7 or 8 years before I was introduced to even the idea of Sharpies.
Yeah.
So everything was done with a knife.
Seems more efficient, like just time-wise.
Yeah, it is. It is really efficient. Yeah. And so we'll do one more demo, just as a refresher. So we did the Sharpie method. We'll do just the regular hand cutting method on a front door. They're not really going to be much different, but you just have this more sloped area. But all the rules are still the same here. I would say it is funny to talk to other people while I have chat buzzing in my head. All right. So we're gonna spray that down. This might be at the end. You always do a good job, thank you. So we're gonna put a piece of film on here. Because sometimes you're gonna have mirrors in the way. Most of them fold out of the way. These ones do not. These ones are just fixed here. So cutting around here is gonna be a little bit unique. So again, we're gonna line this up right on the bottom here. And then I'm gonna trim this excess off because this is keeping my film from just rolling in here. It's pulling back on this. So I'm just gonna trim this off. And then that'll roll right in there. So same thing, we're gonna pick one side and we're gonna make our cut first. It's gonna be easier to kind of measure out the sides if I do that side. So we'll start there, just because the mirror gets in the way. So just that first click out on the blade, poke that in, and we're gonna trim this down and then tear away. And we're gonna slide this over. So this is about 1/4 of an inch. These little side rubbers here, they're about 1/4 of an inch. You can overlap them a little bit more. And then we're gonna go here. Now, whichever way you can cut this front edge, just try and make it as comfortable as you can for you. Because the mirror gets in the way, I'm gonna have to start here at the bottom and just wedge my knife in here and go straight up. So that first click, just feel for that edge there and just cut near that top corner. And then this should tear away. Right like that. And now, since I can see that better, I'm gonna pull this over and just kind of watch that, because I'm pulling it back over half as much as I pulled it over in that direction. So 1/4 of an inch this way, then we backtrack about 1/8 of an inch, and then we have that little overlap that we needed. Then we're gonna just pull this down a little bit. Spray, tack in place. We're gonna lift and roll this down. Then that top edge knife. So same thing, even though this top edge is more curved, we're trying to keep our knife at the same angle with the window on the way up. So my knife is just gonna start to kind of tilt with that angle, but I'm trying to hold the blade in the same, like, so if I poked it in at like a 30° or whatever, then I'm trying to keep that same throughout the cut. Clear that away. And then it's just drawing some straight lines and rounding some corners again. Hands-on training, yes. Yes, we were doing a class today where we are doing door windows. Tomorrow is going to be back windows and front windshields. And then third day is kind of a free-form day where we take we went over everything, we practiced a lot, and then it's really like, I need more practice doing these types of things. So it's focusing on whatever you really, really need. Tinting is so easy. You feel the hardest part is contamination. Contamination is part of tinting. So like cutting patterns is one thing. I can put it on a machine. Straight line. And then this one's almost done. What's a good film for beginners? One that's decent to save a little money on, but I wouldn't recommend leaving it on any cars, is T-View on Amazon. It's like $100 a roll. So you can save a lot of money on the actual film, because a lot of it's gonna get thrown away. But I would just get a good film for installing on people's cars when you're actually gonna put it on somebody's car. Okay, any questions? All right. All right, so we'll have you guys practice on this car for now. Just pick a side, pick a door, and then put your sprayers there. We'll get you guys a roll of film, and we'll work with you guys for hand cutting. Let me see some hand cut quarter glass. That'll be later. Quarter glass, these ones are still definitely tricky, but the quarter glasses are not a priority right now. It's gonna be all the tedious little intricacies of the door. Once we do this for a little while, then we'll come back from lunch, and then we'll do installations. They should have picked the windshield. That's not a door. Are they gonna pick the windshield when it's not a door? Hang on. How's this working? Everything good? You can hit this button. Nice. It is good shrink training, and we're gonna do that tomorrow. It just doesn't make sense to do today.
We'll have a quarter window demonstration, probably later. I get a lot of questions about those, but yeah, definitely we're doing pretty much just focusing on the because it's different.
Yep, one at a time here. We'll worry about the doors first.
Door windows are quite reliable.
Does the keg sprayer come with the class? Yes. Yeah, because if we were gonna practice with good stuff, I wanted to give good stuff with the class. So that was kind of part of it. It was like you get to use all the I don't know. There's classes that give away some simple stuff, but like there's so many better things that are really helpful to practice with. So I didn't want it to be like, haha, now you have to buy them. So they just come with it. We often get asked like after the class, like, so what else should I buy? And it's like, there's a couple small things. That's about it.
When they take it out of the box,
Oh, let me open that.
instead of taking the whole
Who would have thought putting a PC up here in a cabinet kills the Bluetooth range? Yep, so this is going to be part of door day too. We got frameless on that.
and then when you put it on there, basically, so is your percentage curls board?
Yep, two major styles, the framed ones and then frameless on those. Yeah, well that's why you're here. Teslas are popular enough. Ooh, I don't know, what should we do? What do we use? So jets, savvy sliders, and Detroit. Let's do jets. Yeah, let's do jets today. Oh, how's it going?
Good, I got this looking good.
Yeah.
I just got these little triangle components.
Uh-huh.
Rounded the corner because they were to a point.
Yeah, that's good.
But I was just about to spend a bunch of time fixing the mobile view, and I realized this is just the screenshot. Doesn't have to be in a mobile view
Okay.
because we still have the other website thing.
That
But
looks nice. Oh, I like the little box around it too.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, that's for the recommended one. Oh, yeah, it did this in one of the points when I was.
I like that. That looks nice.
I
It's subtle.
Divided up into individual components.
Okay.
So now, like, this is a thing, this is a section, this is a section, this is a section.
Ah, okay.
And this is what took long. I had to basically strip it apart. It was all one.
Yeah. Okay.
But now this pulls bullet points from In the picture uploader is working. I thought it wasn't working. It's working
Okay.
because I was able to upload these directly from here.
That's super cool.
But I like this color for ours. I like the
Yeah, it looks nice. No, I like that.
purple. So yeah, all this is dynamic. This is always in the center, and these are locked to each side.
Uh-huh. Here, I'm gonna put this over here for a minute.
So I can give you a really useful tip here with cutting your signs. This is something that like I try to get a lot of people to try is before you put the blade out, it's really a lot and just how it feels kind of. You want to let the blade fly. You don't really want to force it. So if I go ahead and peel the tip back a little bit and I just look at this rubber here, I can just without even putting the blade out, I can just kind of line this folder along here and just kind of find the angle. Thank you. Just to see how it feels.
Okay.
Because that can really help you out just with getting an idea. Oop.
That's kind of the angle we're looking for.
Yeah, just to like, because really it's just how it will kind of like a matter of what feels good to you a little bit.
The goal is obviously to get behind the seal, not cut into the seal, right?
Right, and you'll kind of see too once you actually make your cut, because when you're gonna cut, you're only gonna put out like the littlest amount of blade.
Yeah.
So it's like same kind of thing where like this is like barely gonna be out at all.
Yeah.
So that's why I offer that as a tip a lot.
Yeah.
Just to see how it feels without even having the blade out. Just because when I do it, you're not forcing the blade at all. You're just letting it slide.
Just give it a go.
Yeah, and then you can go ahead and try cutting it there. And a lot of times too, before I even make my cut, I'll just kind of see where I'm cutting just by kind of creasing it with my
Get a little
finger there.
seal Where does he do it? I'm gonna go in. Get a feel for that first.
Yeah, just take your time. How are you doing right here?
I'm a left-handed cutter, so it's hard making some of these cuts.
Okay. Make sure before you make your cut, I always like to do this where I just kind of tack it into place. So could you spray just a little bit of water on there? Yeah, just here through the center, just like this, because now I can make sure that it's not gonna slide on me when I go to do my cut.
Okay.
And then a tip I gave him as well. I want to share this tip with you, is before you even have the blade out, I like to just kind of feel before I even put it out, just how it's gonna kind of slide along there.
Okay.
Because you kind of go at a particular angle. You're not really leading with the blade or anything. You're letting the basically the holder of the knife kind of do the work itself.
Okay.
So, yeah, just as a tip, it really helps to just kind of see how that feels. Because all you really do on top of that is when you add just a little bit of blade out, you're adding the littlest bit, and you're not even leading with the point really. You're just kind of you're still leading with the holder.
Gotcha. The blade's just kind of out there doing
Yeah.
its own thing.
Yep. But it's just a good tip just for kind of getting a feel of just kind of how you want the blade to move when you cut it. So you made your first cut here?
Yeah.
That looks good.
We'll overlap it.
And then,
We want to respray.
right, yeah, so what I do is where I cut, I just lift up the side here.
Yeah.
Just to where we tack it down, spray a little bit of water. kind of sticking to the bottom of the seal there. And then you just slide it just over, just, yeah.
Okay.
So what we're looking for here is we just kind of want it right to the edge of the rubber.
Okay.
So pretty much right where it meets there is where
Okay.
I would set it up, and then you just tack it. Yep, and then you can go ahead and cut your other side. Same thing as what I mentioned before. You can try that with the holder just to see how it feels, and then you can crease your edge in. Yep, and then I can just tell you this too, because it came away a little bit.
Oh, I see
Looks like
that.
at the
Yeah.
end there. What I do when I make a cut
Yeah.
is I kind of follow behind it with my finger, just to make sure that I hold the film in place. So a lot of times it'll just kind of be like this.
Yes.
Next time I'll show you that, because I didn't really think of that before you cut it.
Yeah. But yeah, I see it. Like it came away.
I can probably fix that a little bit because it's going to kind of go a little bit over the rubber. But I can probably kind of pull this a little bit away. And then, okay, that's not too bad. You might have a little gap,
Down at the bottom.
but it's not going to be too bad. Just a little one there. Yeah, you have a little one, but it's not that bad. And then, so now that we've cut our sides, we want to slide this a little bit into the bottom seal. So it would be like that. That's about what you're, here, just a little bit, this a little bit down. So you want it kind of a 1/4 inch going into each side. So this is slightly off from what we want, but it's not that bad for a first try. It's good.
All right. So then the next, do I need to roll the window down for the top cut? Or?
Yeah. So this is where you really want to make sure that your pattern is in place, because you don't want it to slide when you're rolling the window down. So that's where I'll squeeze you all the water out.
Okay.
And then when we roll the window down, what we do is we just lift the bottom here. So it's like this. You're kind of reaching around, just kind of lifting it and then rolling it down. And a little tip too that I can give you with these back doors is a lot of times, I don't know these ones in particular, but a lot of times they actually roll up slightly different than they roll down.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've like seen that before, but
Oh, I haven't.
but like it's like I think this Focus does it. A lot of Fusions do it. I know like Chargers do it, 300 stuff like that, where it'll kind of roll down at an angle, and then when you roll it, like start rolling it back up, it kind of shifts
Okay.
to like fall into place.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure that you roll it back up slightly after you roll it down. But that's pretty much just with back doors.
Okay.
About to start the top.
Top edge, you got your sides cut already?
Yes, there's one imperfection right there where I sunk the knife in.
That's really not a big deal at all, because that'll just kind of go into the side there, so you're not really going to even see that.
Okay.
You got your side. Yeah, that looks good. So,
Rolled it down a little bit. I did move this down to about the top corner right here, sort of.
okay,
And then I rolled it down.
that's good. And then, so when you do your top edge, I like a little bit more blade out. I usually go with probably like this is probably good right here. But when you do this, you could actually roll this down just a little bit more if you want to. I kind of like a little bit of space. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I'll be with you in just a second too. But the way it's kind of like, it depends a little bit on like what feels good to you when you actually do this. But when I do the top edge, I'll kind of use my finger to kind of hold the film, and then I'll just slide the blade across at like a little bit of an angle, if you can kind of see that. Because you don't want it. It's not gonna be directly on, going like completely perpendicular. It's gonna be at like a little bit of an angle, but it depends a little bit on kind of what feels good to you.
Okay.
But that
I'm used
that
to a knife catching a lot, but I think I use stainless for this top edge.
Okay, so sometimes if the knife is catching, you might be pushing too much into the holder, because you want when you do this, I come pretty close to the holder, but not all the way.
You're not pressing it against
Right,
the
because
glass.
that would be like basically if the film is touching all the way to the where the holder meets the blade, that's where it would most likely be catching. But you can go ahead and give that a try. The best tip is what I mentioned, where you kind of use your finger as a guide, follow along. So you can give that a try. Basically, just to kind of make sure that basically the film will stay in place as you're doing it. You'll see, because a lot of times when you're doing a top edge, the big thing that can go wrong is the film can kind of pull away from the glass, or it can kind of snag on something, and then you've got an uneven top edge.
Gotcha. Okay.
So just go ahead and give that a try. Yeah, so same as what I mentioned to him.
You kind of keep your finger up.
So you don't need to start all the way at the back here.
Yeah.
I would usually start pretty much like just kind of an inch away right there. Yep, and then kind of use your finger right here
Yeah.
as a guide, kind of follow along to kind of keep it in place, and then just go across the whole thing.
I think it's a blade thing, 'cause this glided right through. I did lift
It
off.
it worked well.
Worked a lot better than what I'm used to.
Okay, yeah, it might have a little bit to do with the stainless, but a lot of times I do use stainless for top edge.
You do.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say like you couldn't use stainless for a
It
top
could
edge.
be an angle thing as well, but like the blades I'm normally used to using, they're just the cheap ones. I haven't picked one of these up, but they come in this holder, like this style. I use them for every other edge, but when I get to the top edge, even on a blade, it seems like every so often it just halting.
Sometimes too, it can be the thickness of your film.
Yeah.
Because I have.
This feels slightly thicker. Than this.
Oh, okay. Then it might just be your blade getting too dull, or it might be the angle. What you're saying.
Okay. Just not sure. I haven't used a bunch of different ones. This is the second film I've ever tried out.
But yeah, I do notice most of the time when I get snags and things like that, it tends to be because I basically push too close to my holder.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing the top, if I was going across here, if like right up to here is where I would get more of a snag on there.
Okay. And then I'm allowed to use the glass board?
Yeah, of course.
I don't
Yep.
have to cut the corner.
Nope, you can take it right to the board.
Extend your blade out farther. Here, I'll take the mic back. Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
You want to give yourself like more blade, and then you can hold it just at a lower angle. It'll cut easier. Oh, I probably shouldn't handle the mic that way. Yep, there you go. If it hasn't, so snap off your blade. It's like an indicator to like if you make a cut and it should have cut but it didn't, always snap off the blade. So we're gonna retract this to just where that like this line right here
Yep.
lines up with right there, and then you
Just like this.
can with the snapper here, the little slot there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. I see now.
There you go. Yep.
When you cut off black lines like this, a lot of times it's good idea to have a little bit of blade.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's at an angle.
There you go.
You're kind of doing this.
Ta-da!
So I feel like, at least for, like, for me, I feel like this is much better. It feels much more smooth. Stuff that I have a little bit extra play now.
It's probably cut through. It's just, or is it not? Oh, it's still not. Okay. It's either the blade needs to be snapped or a little more pressure.
Yeah, if you feel your blades are hanging, sometimes too, it might help if you just squeeze your
I switched to using a Sharpie and the snitty cutter. I want to minimize the amount of things that could go wrong. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, because, I mean, especially in the beginning, people are nervous cutting on people's cars. I totally get it. I mean, this car has been through a lot of classes. That's where all this, you see how gouged up this is? That's all from just, lots of people cutting on it. It's also just like everything is. It takes some time getting used to everything. So if you've never used or touched film before, it looks one way in videos, and then it's like a completely. It just is different when you start actually doing it.
everybody when it comes to rounding is to use your finger.
Yeah, I'm not too great at swinging the knife around. Not too confident.
How do I remove tint?
Yeah, I always give this kind of, because this is how exactly
Steamer's gonna be the best way. It doesn't mean it's gonna make it easy though,
roundness of my finger, and it just kind of, not like,
because you have to soften you have to soften up the tint. If it's not if it's not really removing it, you like scrape it, which isn't ideal for the back window, but it's like a time thing. You either spend so much time trying to then tediously pick off every little piece. I'm trying to get, here's we go. I can use my charger.
and then also,
Who are the donor cars? These are
like, you don't have to
our class cars.
just kind of put
So both of these are actually just for the class. This one's been through a number of classes, and then this one's been through a number of classes, and then this is my daily driver for between here and the shop, or home and shop. And it also makes a great class car, which is why I got that frameless. A lot of people ask about it, so we practice on that one. Do you do a class on contamination and application? That's after lunch. So once we cut out a bunch of doors, then after lunch, then we go over installation. Yep. Extend your blade out farther. There you go. It'll make that easier.
Is that the most comfortable way to hold the blade?
I don't really feel it. I think I cut too much.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit right in there, but that's fine. Like your cut's pretty good. So I just finished rounding off the corners.
Yeah, it's definitely a matter of personal preference.
Never had a removal this difficult. Not sure what to do. It's hard to say. Rough estimate for headlight tint. I'm in Troy. We actually don't do. I'm sorry. We actually don't do headlights and taillights. Yep. Just put that somewhere where it's going to be a little easier to cut.
Yeah, and then just when you just got that little extra, you can just kind of
There you go.
there.
Good. just keep doing double comments? Oh, it's like it's like a TikTok thing. Why does it do double? I forgot about that. Sometimes it does. So every comment gets read, and TikTok, for whatever reason, is reading it twice. I have no idea why. YouTube's fine, though. What's the hardest thing to learn? Shrinking. It depends. Everything that you do has some level of difficulty to it. Cutting, you can at least show things a little bit easier. Shrinking is by feel. So it's like you're looking for things that are hard to see.
It's just a yeah, it's a very detail oriented.
No, well, at this point, you got your pattern. You're all good to do. So you can cut out another pattern now. So this is all ready to go. So we would shrink this and then install it. How big is that monitor? This one's a 43-inch TV. It's easy to read from far back, which is why I got it. So we have that one. That's I think a 65-inch TV. And then for the plotter, we did a 75-inch one. This is gonna be another way of cutting though. What's my password? Ugh, hang on. There we go. I'm gonna have to move this computer. I got my Mac Mini up there, so that's what's doing my streaming. But putting it in a metal cabinet kills the Bluetooth range. Let's go. Let's go. All right, so Tint, we're gonna bring up a. Oh no, just kidding. We're gonna update it. Love the flooring. Thank you. I do too. What's your average cost for ceramic with no windshield? $450. Okay, so this car, for example, we're gonna bring up a like 2010. Where's my Nissan Altima? Why is it got? I haven't used Core in a minute. 2008. Well, it's definitely this. I don't know why it just showed the window though, instead of like more patterns or something. Collection. Okay, whatever. So you can pick your window. That goes on the cut board. Go to the cut board. It does 2 automatically. This one is the driver's side. The one on the top is the passenger side. So we could change this to 36-inch roll. Boom. Let me see. What roll is this? Is this carbon? Let me see what roll this is. $35. I think we're gonna grab a roll of 20 up here. I'm too short. So Ultima. All right, let's make this roll. Where have you been? I've been here. It hasn't been busy though, and we're working on software stuff.
What kind of pizza you guys like? Any dietary restrictions here?
No.
We're doing jets, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got a special one to order.
Alright, which one, or is it like special topping?
Yeah, do the. I think they call it the super special.
Yep.
And then we'll customize it a little bit. All right, that's gonna set up. I'm gonna figure out pizza situation. Okay, add. Am I thinking of somewhere else? No, it's just.
Pepperoni, ham, mushroom, onions, green peppers. Yeah, that's what's on there.
I think they just changed their builder. Okay, get rid of the mushrooms. Add olives and pineapple.
Black olives?
Yep. And then I think just a butter garlic crust, and that should be it. Yep.
Boom. Boom.
Yep, that's it. Pizza. Yep, we're getting lunch. Unable to verify. There we go. There we go. Is that pattern core verified? I don't know. It's not Ultima from 20 whatever. It's loading. Shouldn't I just show it? Why is it loading? We were wondering what was too big of a TV for behind a plotter, especially because the plotter's like back against the wall. I like this a lot, and it's really good for illustrations and stuff. It's not too big. Butter garlic crust has my mouth watering. Why is this still loading though? There we go. Okay. No, these are not core verified, I don't think. They should be pretty good though. But I'm just going to cut these. Should be good. Should be good from the last time. Ah, shit. Hang on. Well, that's irritating. Do you know what doesn't make sense to me? Is when I have it set up for carbon and it didn't cut enough. And then I tweaked it so it'd be 35. And then it just ripped through it. So we're gonna quit this. We're gonna clear that.
Got the card?
Yes. Here you go. Oh wait, this one. Sorry. Just kidding. that one. Okay. Let's change it to condition 1 then, I guess. Even though that was like... Let's try that again. I think that's what drives me crazy most about a plotter. But we should be good now. We just cross our fingers and hope it cuts all the way through. This is Core. Core just raised their prices too, by the way. Thank you. No roller lines? Oh no, so this one's a little bit different. You actually have to have, on the FC9000, you have to have your rollers somewhere on the machine. You have no place to put them out of the way. So this is just, it's gonna check for each roller position. So what you can do is on the back side of the machine, is you have these little tabs on each roller, and you can basically put it in an up position so it's not touching. So these two are touching, these two are not. Okay, so hopefully this cut all the way through. I have no idea what's in that spray bottle.
So this will take
64-inch plotter. Yeah, and we got it specifically because we were going to do paint film on it, and we just haven't yet. For window tint, you can get a 60-inch plotter, but for the most part, you're just going to be doing like a 40-inch roll. A 40, a 36, a 20, and 24. So like 40 max is really what you need. See, the other one cut through. That one didn't cut through enough.
Yeah, I said we're hold it.
So, condition. So what's the difference between condition 2 and condition force 15, force 12? So we're gonna up the 4. We're gonna up the force to 13. We're gonna try 13. I mean, on the other one we used 15, and that cut all the way through on this one. So I'm just gonna go with 14 or with 13, and then we're gonna go from there. You could be right. Lower the blade. I don't. So on the same blade, if it's cutting all the way through on 15. And then it's working well enough on 13, or on, yeah, I use 14. That's cool. Every machine's a little different. 14 could be the absolute sweet spot. I just want to work up into it rather than just jump into it based on, I just don't want it to cut all the way through. That creates other bad problems. So we'll start with 13, see what it does. If it doesn't, then we'll jump up to 14. I just invested in an FC9000. Nice. Let's make this a little bit closer. You didn't need to trash it. I know. But I'm holding another piece, so what am I supposed to do? All right, we'll see now. That's working better. Except for the bottom. No, right there, and right there. Yeah, it still worked though. Maybe a slight tweak on the blade or 14. What's up, traveling? What's up? Plenty of time to watch Matt while I drive. If I stream all day. Maybe when they make the changes to TikTok, they'll be able to see. No, platforms still hate each other. It'll be TikTok versus YouTube for sure. It would be nice if their platform worked a little bit better for like this. I don't know why the software does this. So every comment on TikTok right now is doubling. I have no idea why. There's a hang up with like everything that I use to try and do TikTok and YouTube together. So this would go on this side. We'll cut out some extra patterns for installation. Shop's been very slow. All right, let's try this again. I still don't like to really adjust the blade much. But I'll do that and I'll see if it's a little bit better. We might just jump up to 14. We have a really cool quoting system coming out, though. I'm excited about that. We're finishing it up. Yeah. What's up? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Sharpie? Is this live? It is.
Oh yeah. You ever tinted a Veloster?
Yeah.
It's my car.
They're not too difficult.
I had a hard time with the very back, and then the third border
Yeah.
not fun.
Just every window on the Veloster is different. So that's kind of fun. Can't really double cut anything on that. They do what? 2 doors on one side, 1 door on the other.
And then the doors don't even line up.
Yeah.
Driver's side doors, X amount longer.
Are the class dates for cars and flat glass up to date? Yeah, For auto, it is. For flat glass, we probably need to adjust the dates. I have to double check on that. Flat glass still might be dates from last year. I might rework flat glass to be just a one-day thing. Oh, did you Shield sponsor a class with a window film? Yeah, they send out film for the classes. Yeah, they're really supportive of all the class stuff. Nice. What is he doing? He is trimming out a pattern. For window tint cutting software, right now I'm using Core. Core just recently went through a couple of changes. You need a business license now, and they raised their pricing too. So there's gonna be a lot of people. They were 150, and I said 150 was a really good deal. Now they're like 275. Should have been. It's a class. Yep, that should have definitely cut. It might just be sticking. Yeah. Yeah, we're doing a window tint class right now. DigiCut is like 120 a month now, I think.
You have to pay monthly for plotters.
For the software, yeah. It's a business tool. But there's no just database for, like, everything has to be manually done. So like there's no database that a plotter software gets that they just get from the OEMs. Everything is like literally by hand, scan it into the computer,
So you have to
double check it,
scan it in.
source the cars, all that. Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
It's a really big undertaking. So
It is, but it's cool that you kind of build the roster of what you got.
Yep. So they've put a lot of money into softwares, and they constantly have to pour money into keeping a pattern base up to date. And as soon as a new vehicle comes out, like, they got to get their hands on it somehow. If I paid for a class and this is what I got, I would be angry. Why? Are you still teaching two-stage install or just plotting the film? We're doing both. We're showing everything. So hand cutting. The plotter stuff, I was just getting some extra patterns. For when we come back from lunch, then we'll have some more attempts very quickly for shrinking and installing.
Day three is perfection.
I gotta adjust this. Love the glass setup. Thank you. Cool. Got another pattern.
Make sure you roll the window back up.
All right. Let me trim off these ones waiting over here. Excuse me.
Are you doing just the thing? If you don't really need it, you can just have this.
Ta-da. That worked a little better.
You don't need to slide it. Yeah, 'cause when you're sliding it from side to side,
But yeah, when we're doing heat shrinking practice, having some extra patterns
otherwise
available
more likely to come uneven.
is very, very good. Because then you don't have to start from scratch. You can just focus on heat shrinking, and then same thing for installation. It's like there's probably going to be a few patterns that get messed up during heat shrinking, and then there's definitely going to be stuff that gets messed up during installation. So just having extra patterns available is good. Does your class include any of the technical settings in software? It doesn't include any software, but I'll tell you whatever I can.
That should be fun.
Some people taking the class have them, and some people don't. So like the software plotter settings are always different. It depends on the film that you use. It depends on your plotter. Everything's going to be like fine-tuned a little bit different. And then as your blade wears out too, we'll bump it up to 14, and we'll back this off. We'll bump it up to condition. Go to 4. We'll bump this to 14, like we were told. And we'll cut these, and hopefully it won't rip through my patterns. Oh, I gotta go back. Hang on. One more button. Menu. But yeah, software is. Okay, cool. Software is just one of those things where it's like, it's always monthly. There's a lot of mediocre ones. I like Core the best. They've done a really, really nice job with their patterns, and patterns have been it's a big point of frustration. You offer sparkle tint? No. No, but they should make some sparkle tint. All right. I'm the guy that recommended 14. Kabam! I'm sure you can find sparkle tint. But good long-lasting sparkle tint, probably not.
You can just kind of pick from there and start right here. And then where it kind of wrinkles right there, do the same thing. And just kind of like
What's a good speed and force for the plotter? Depends on your plotter. So FC 9000, we have this. This is our blade holder. Force is at 14 and speed is at 30. It used to be at like 12. So it's weird that I had to bump it up twice. But sometimes I just swap out the film and like, you know, it'll be like a week or two and I'll swap out the film with something else. And then whatever I go to cut is just all of a sudden cutting a little different. So I don't know.
He was like, I think you could really see out of it. I felt so bad because it was like the entire
Oh, here in the States, it's all non-reflective. The only area that they use reflective is going to be houses. It's just because people get pulled over way too fast, and there isn't really any good sources. Do you teach Tesla back windshields? Yeah, it's for anybody that wants to learn. That's one reason I got it. I've been surprised. It has not been used very much for the classes, just because people want to learn other stuff. No online course? I don't have an online course. My YouTube channel is my online course. I've never been that committed to making just an actual library. For a couple of different reasons, though. I always like having everything out there rather than like behind a paywall. That's the way I felt everything was going for the longest time anyways. So like to make a course, it's like you can learn everything on YouTube. All the information's out there. It's just scattered. So courses can be very beneficial. And like some people really like that. It's just a lot of upfront work, and then I almost feel like I have to be careful on what I share or whatever, and I don't want to feel that way. What do you add to the water? This tint slip. So this is probably more soap than I need. Actually, it is. I don't need that much soap. I really only need like 1/4 of an ounce in like a little Zep bottle. But I always feel like that's so little. So I always put a little more. I just want this on standby here, though. There we go. Is Stack Tint good? I hear good things. I don't know much of it, though. Boom. Oh, wait. That's the wrong one. This one. I want this one. Where in Michigan are you? Sterling Heights. The Metro Detroit area.
I didn't do your top right after you slide it down. Roll it down.
Some days it's a school. It's a class day today. That looks good. Yep, that's about how much you want on both sides, and then we'll slide the pattern down a little bit.
I always try to shoot for this corner. Is that
That's
much too
perfect.
little?
No, that's totally fine. Did you squeegee it in the middle? Okay, so you're just gonna have to loosen it up. So just pull this back a little bit, flush some water back here, and loosen it up, and then it'll slide right down. Like a little bit more than that. That's what I'll do. And just get that, so kind of see how that's running down now. So now it should slide down. There you go. Yep. Make sure it's straight. Yep, if you're gonna line it up there, right there's fine. Scoot it back over a little bit. Okay. There you go. Sorry, I moved it this way a little bit too far for you.
That's all right. I
Okay,
had to
now,
pick up the last pattern entirely.
now spray the outside and just tack it back in place. And then you're gonna roll it down and trim that top edge.
Doesn't matter where it's at.
No, no, you're fine.
A little more.
Nope, should be good. Yep. Cool. How many people per class? We do up to like 6 to 8 typically. We did a lot bigger classes during the year, last year. So they can get a little overwhelming. Go to 313tint.com and all the class info will be there. And like we have a few coming up that are scheduled for February and March right now. Yeah, that looked like it went well.
I have a lot of issues with my top edge back home, but it's because my knife catches. And I was telling Danny that since using these new knives,
They work better.
game changer.
Good. That's what we noticed in some of the first classes, because I'd only ever used one of the red dot knives.
Yeah.
I'll pull both of those out.
I got some cheap knives that are similar to the red dot ones with
Uh-huh.
rolls of film, and they work okay.
It's really about the blade, less about the holder. The red dot ones are nice because you just have additional clicks. So you get a little bit more blade, you know, especially if you're using it for top edges too, which you totally can do. But what we've noticed is the stainless, they dull a little quicker and they tend to snag a little bit. And if you're familiar with cutting with it, you're not going to have an issue. But for whatever reason, there's a lot of people hand them to, and then it'll be exactly what you experience. It'll constantly snag. So we save these just for the top. These are like half the thickness, and they're super, super sharp. So pair that with just a cheap holder, and it works great for those.
And then my top edges have changed significantly. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
25-year-old car. Yeah, when you get older vehicles, you're gonna have issues. You're gonna have extra dirt. You're gonna have just differences in how the window was designed, how it rolls down. Like there's just quirky stuff when you go farther back. So honestly, like a good just general rule is like pre 2005 is when things really started getting quirky. There's always your like vehicles that are still easy in that era, but on average, it's like the farther, you know, when you start going like 25 or 20, over 20 years back, you start running into weird stuff.
Definitely be careful when you use your
Oh, say that again about the knife. So we use a couple of different knives, and the blades, I'll show you. So this pack right here, we have Both are by NT Cutter. These are the stainless packs, and then these are the thin carbon steel ones, the BA54Ps. The B, what that sticker got? BA50SS, I believe. Where are all my packs when you need them? I got a top. I got another top. All my extra packs. All my extra packs are missing. But I think BA50SS, that's the model on this one. These are the stainless ones. Really, really nice. BA54P. I suppose I can bring it up on here too.
And with your blade units, when I get, that looked at
So we're gonna go blades. Yeah, these ones right here. BA50SS.
No, it just from my angle, it looked like it was like the
And then BA54Ps. I decided, oh, my 25-year-old Audi shouldn't have a perfect tint job. Especially an Audi. Audi is not going to be an easy car to just do. Especially when it's 25 years old.
you're just figuring out how to.
One time the carbon blades got stuck together, put them in my knife, cuts were all messed up. That's happened to me a couple of times, and it took me a little while to realize, like, why is this cut so bad? But these are incredibly thin, and they put a little bit of oil on them, so they do stick together. But that prevents them from rusting super quick. These are very, very, very thin blades. GeoShield is good, but pricey. Not good to waste. I mean, no film is fun to waste.
The purpose of rounding
That's just part of it. Extend your blade out farther too for that. Yeah, extend your blade out farther and then snap the end if you need to. Can't believe it's been 1 year since Detroit training. Oh yeah, the SEMA garage. That was fun. I already know how to tint. Just need a good brand for my customers. Geo's really good. I mean, the thing to keep in mind is, like, with any film brand, is like take a price of a roll and then spread it out over like 8 cars. So, like, with a few mistakes, that's what you should be able to cover. So there's good margins on the films. The film pricing isn't necessarily like the biggest issue. It's your time and it's how fast you can do it. Which I guess I said the same thing twice. Have you ever used Lumar? The first film that I learned on was Lumar. Because we were a Lumar dealer at the time. I didn't really know anything about film or brands or whatever. I just knew it was a decent film, and that's what we were getting. So I have nothing bad to say about Lumar. ATC is what we were using. Why do some tinters use a file? Just to make a seamless top edge. If you can hand cut an almost just as perfect top edge, but a file is a way to, like, you overlap it and then shave it off, and you can make it look seamless, but adds a little bit of unnecessary work. It just depends on the job. You'll notice it more on frameless. I am comfortable working with film. Worked as a sign writer for 20 years. But shrinking is a new skill for me to learn. Shrinking is definitely tricky. When will you ship clay bars? Oh, I don't know when we're getting them in. I wish I had a better timeline. I just don't. I don't like the look of Expel. Yeah, it just depends on the line that you use. I hear XR Plus looks a little blue. They're all. I think that's one of the most frustrating thing about Tint. Is like sometimes you can find a good brand, and like one or two lines that they carry will be really good, and then another one will be different. Every film's like got a different technology in it. They're all made a little bit differently and whatever else, but there's always little elements that are very hard to control. So, a what? Band-Aid? Oh, yeah. Where are the Band-Aids? Thank you.
Didn't even make it to lunch the first day while we were here.
Got a tint cut.
Oh, just a little tint cut. Yeah, we got a bunch of them. Here.
I had them on my finger. This is the first time in the middle of my.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's so fun. And then they just like don't stop. They're just like irritating and they don't stop.
It don't even hurt. It's like, why did the tint just catch on my hand? Oh.
It does sometimes.
Red liquid.
Anytime I get a cut, it's from the tap. I like never cut myself on anything else.
I've yet to cut myself. I don't want to say never because I'm just getting into this, but like, I've definitely had tint cuts.
No pain, no gain.
Hazards of the trade.
Wait till you slip on a tri-edge and it goes into your palm. I've done that, especially with like an easy reach. I've had like an easy reach go under my fingernail before.
I've done that, yeah. I have stabbed myself with an easy reach before.
Ouch. I had a magnetic light sitting in my toolbox, and I had like exposed razor blades in there, and I just like reached in there and just like that one was a bad one.
Yeah, and then I always get blades up into my shoes.
Watching you guys snap the blades onto the floor and whatnot, I think about that all the time. Like, what if I step on a blade that there's grains?
Yeah, this is kind of
Well, we had. So we were at Costco and we found this pack of Band-Aids. But yeah, especially for the tint classes, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes like I'll just put something on my hand or use a towel or something and not think much of it. But one of the previous classes, it's like somebody cut themselves pretty badly and I was like, oh, I guess we probably should have stuff around for that. Check the purple closet thingy where the furnace is. Yeah. Yeah, in the front room. There should be some in there. Tint Club is slept on. I just heard a couple people talk about them yesterday. I mean, the price difference is what, like $50? I don't know. I don't. It's kind of like a Tint Club, Tint Depot. It's like, it's not that any of those places will have bad film. It's that it just depends on like what you're going for. If you want to save $50 on a roll of film and get a whatever brand, because it's more about just the install than the film that you're using, that's fine. One reason I like Geo is because they're not just, I think, a fairly priced film. There's a little bit more to it than that. So it's just, you know, different films for different businesses. You guys certify people at their tint classes. So we hand out certificates at the end, but they say that you take the class. Like there's no nationwide certification program for anything. Have you heard of High Tech? Yeah, High Tech's good. I haven't used it. I need a certificate. What you don't there's nothing that's gonna a certificate's gonna help you do. There's gonna be programs that a company might have that they would require specific type of training before they allow you to buy those products. But there isn't anything in window film that's like that. Question: how do you find somebody to work for you and keep them content with the job rather than leaving you starting their own thing? It's tough, and it really requires like some type of a growth program. You either like honestly just go through hiring a lot of people and try to have a I don't know a good up just find somebody that sticks. But I honestly don't have a great answer for you. People that are here have honestly just kind of like stumbled in here. So it's tough. It's tough to find people. I know that. So if you find somebody that's good, then just try and do what you can to make them happy and talk, figure out something. Because you're right. There's a lot of people that'll get hired and then they'll want to go make their own thing. But it's generally because just they see like their whole future. It's like they see like I'm just gonna be a tinter here. This is the money I'm gonna make, which might not be bad, but like you hit it. Eventually, you hit a ceiling, and then you want to like. There's a lot of people want to push past a ceiling, and if there's no way to do that, then that's when it's like, okay, well, I'll try starting my own thing and see how that goes. I thought you needed a certificate. I work out of a shop where I rent space. No, you don't need any certificates. You need to order film through some companies, you just need your, like, an EIN. That's about it. If they want to go on their own, I'd support it because that's what's best for them. I mean, it can be. You never know until you get out there. So, I don't want to close it. I want to close this. But then my computer signal. Business license, but you get that on your own. Yeah, there aren't any barriers in window tinting. Like you can just order film and you can teach yourself on YouTube and you can start tinting. How much to wrap a roof on the Tacoma? I don't know. We don't do roof wraps. It can be a little tricky. Mm-hmm. I've been including quotes of 600. That's crazy to me. I don't know. I don't do roof wraps. I have no idea how much it costs. I live in Bloomfield. I don't know. You could call Auto Tint City in Dearborn, see what they'll charge you. My dad has a shop out there. They do roof wraps. I have no idea what they charge. Do you have to do all the cutting first, then install? Yes. You want it to be the right size, and then you install it. I wish I could figure out this double text situation. YouTube's fine, but this... Oh, weird. Is comments still working? I think they are. Why don't you wrap cars? Yeah, it is. Why does it say it's not connected? Maybe the software is open on a different computer. That could be. Why don't you wrap cars? Because it's a completely different skill set that I never took the time to, like, flesh out. It's just another thing.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, do you cut all windows then install? Well, for the class, what we're doing is we're practicing cutting windows, and then we're gonna install those windows. You could do it either way. I tend to cut out every window, and then I will install them, just so it's just like a cutting example, or I like to stick to one thing, and then I'll go back and go through and install them.
I like to kind of crease this with my fingers.
But also because I double cut, so I cut two patterns out at the same time. So I'll do the front doors. Pull this window up. So I'll trim out two doors at the same time. So there'll be these two. I'll cut them on here, and I'll move to the back door, trim both of those, so I'll have 4 patterns really quickly, and then I'll go through and I'll install them.
You'll see, like, I maybe got, like, you know, not right there where I started, but that's not really good.
That was good. What?
You cut under because the film lifted up.
Oh, you missed.
Yep.
Your hand was in the way when I was looking at this part. So just towards the end, what can happen is how you're holding the knife. So towards the end, what would have happened is, like, when you got to this point, you pulled the knife away,
Right.
and then the tint will kind of just like walk with the knife, and then that's how that'll happen. If the knife is always pushing the film against the glass, then it's not going to be able to do that. So I'll stop a little shy from these points anyways.
And just-
So I'll cut here and like up to like where I can, and then when I make that, or like I'll stop here and then I'll trim those corners.
Okay.
So like here too, actually your blade was a little farther away. You always want to make sure that the blade is
Right up.
right up against there, because that plastic holder is then holding that tint, and it's not going to walk away.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Still want me to continue?
Yeah.
This piece?
Yeah, for sure. You can also just, well, you know, with that pattern, because we got a bunch of doors here, actually what we can do is, because you're here, let's practice another one,
Okay.
and then try and cut this one again.
Up against.
Mm-hmm.
Glide.
Yep.
Angle.
Yep. And that way we're just doing it back to back. It's a good way to really like dial in your top edges very quickly. So it's like the pattern now is not going to line up quite right because we just shaved some more off of it and we moved it. But now you've got a really, really good top edge. So.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. But cut one at a time and then install. I mean, either way can be fine. I tend to just wander around the car more. If you can stick to just like cutting one at a time and installing it, but if you can cut 2 patterns out at the same time, that's going to save you the most amount of time. So installing and cutting could be either way. But if you cut 2 out, then that'll help save a little more. Is tint inside the car? It does go inside the car, but all the cutting happens on the outside.
You really just need enough there to be like to have a straight edge.
What's that? Nothing on the front doors except the top 4 inches, and same thing for the windshield, unless you have a doctor's note. The doctor's note is nice, because then, like, you just go get a doctor's note.
Is that hard to achieve?
It can be. It just depends. Like, if you know a guy, then yeah.
Typical no guy, yeah.
For a time, when that became a thing, I think for a time, I would hear a lot of people would try and fake getting doctor's notes, and then doctors would start getting in trouble. You know, they would charge to write a note, and then they could start getting fallback for it. So I have a fix-it ticket in Michigan for tints. I'll never tint another car, but it's a fix-it ticket. So the worst that you have to do is remove a windshield if you have it, and then the front doors, and then you can redo it. They've actually never written a fix-it ticket for me. What they've done for me is just wrote a ticket, and then I went to the city, and then like with my doors removed, and then the city wrote it off, or like signed off on the ticket.
I got written up for obstructed vision.
Oh really?
Yeah, I had to stand in front of the magistrate to get it dismissed.
But they still dismissed it.
They did dismiss it.
Nice.
But you have to do the extra steps of actually going to the courthouse, waiting to see the magistrate, and then she just says you're dismissed.
It's weird that they would write it as like it's annoying that they would write it as obstruction.
That's just to be annoying because it's 2 points on your license if you don't get it dismissed.
It's still like 2 points as a tint ticket too.
Fix a ticket, like regular fix a ticket, didn't have any points on it. I don't think.
I had a state cop write one for window tint, and then I had the windows removed, went to the state police, and they're like, "This isn't a fix it ticket. This is just a tint ticket." I was like, "Aren't those waivable if you get it removed?" And they're like, "No." And then I called the city, and they said, "Go to the city police," and then the city police wrote it off.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah. Every state cop that I've encountered on it has been a dick.
Every window tint ticket I heard of was just like a fix it ticket, except for obstructed vision.
I think they're all just on a different page. I think they'll just do whatever they want, and then like, nah. Oh, I have 6 fix-it tickets. Oh, I thought you only had 1. Damn, that's I haven't had that many. Yeah, you must live in an area where they're just out to get you. That would only happen to me if I was driving somewhere at like what I would say is like out of normal time for me to be there. So if it was like casually during the day, right? And I'm driving in a whatever area, like going to get food or something, then it's like that's when I see police and can get pulled over. Other than that, it's like regular work routine and all that.
Yeah,
I don't like run into any of it.
I'm pretty much never out at night. So.
Yeah. It's a requirement for the state trooper. Got to be a D. Do we have pizza yet? That should be here soon. Not yet. Very soon. It's 12. Yeah. And the extra credit.
Wasn't sure what. I didn't want to like move on to.
No, you can absolutely. Yeah, we're just working on cutting out door windows. So if you feel comfortable with what you're doing, then yeah, absolutely.
So what I would do here is I would just continue with that here.
Oh, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Fast motoring with the 2. Much love from Venice, California. Appreciate it. I need a good way to get notified of that kind of stuff. So I just got to remember to check. I appreciate it. My car sits such that I get everyone's headlights blinding me in the rearview mirror. I just took a piece of scrap tint from the tinting guy at the dealership. And tinted the mirror instead of the window. Hey, if it works, it works. I have 35 windshield and 5 all around. I've never been pulled over. Yeah, it just depends on where you are. There's just like some places where, yay, thank you. There's just some places that are just definitely more bored or like there's a few areas that I can think of here where it's like there's certain cities that are just known for cops just being a lot more strict. Also depends, I think, on just how busy the roads are and how many people generally do it. Because, like, I don't know, Metro Detroit, there's a ton, like, it's just way more common than it used to be. And for the most part, all they're trying to do is like they just want to be able to see who's driving. They want to be able to see into the vehicle. So if you fall within like a normal range, then it's generally not something you're gonna get hassled for. Michigan will sit on the side of the road and give seatbelt tickets. Yep, I've had one of those actually. I had one before I was a driver. I was 15, sitting in the passenger seat, and I got the ticket. Yeah. Apparently, he walked over.
Talk to your parent.
No, I guess not. It was. So I was in Jason's car, and then we were going to Zach's. We went to McDonald's, and then you got pulled over, but I got the ticket. Yeah, for not wearing a seatbelt in the passenger driver's or the passenger front seat. Super dumb. Have you ever cut its bottom edge?
Once.
Okay. So you can go ahead and cut that. But you can do the exact same thing when you're double cutting too. You can just line up the pieces together, line up the bottom edges, and then save yourself a cut at the bottom as well, just like the other ones. So it's gonna be extra difficult because there's two thicker pieces of film together, but you're gonna cut it the same way that you do the sides. So it's like you have the blade more on the glass than in the seal. So same thing right here. It's like put just that click out, and you're gonna push that in. And you're gonna push against the glass and just try and ride the blade against the seal, and you'll be able to make that cut. Okay. This needs to be snapped. So let's do that again. So right like that. And then you'll get that cut.
So I'm not cutting into the corner. I'm still cutting on the glass.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yep. So you can finish off that little bit with just the rest of that blade there. Mm-hmm. And we got pizza up front too. So if you guys want to take a little break. Alrighty. I'm gonna shut it down for now. We'll be back. Thank you for watching.